Welcome, 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 one and all, to the stream. That's right. It is time for me to hop on here and do some lawyering. We are going to wrap up episode 1 of The Great Ace Attorney, and we're also going to follow that up with starting episode 2 as well. I'm glad you're joining me for this. Gonna be a hell of a blast. I love playing the Ace Attorney games. I got my sound effects set up, all that fun junk too. Did a lot of work on my stream deck today, impromptu, on the spot, really, because of the audio in the game being scuffed for Learn Kanji to Survive. But yeah, let's get going with this, shall we? Hey, wakey wakey, wakey stream deck. There we go. All right, let's start going. Let's do it. November 1:14 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature, courtroom number 2. I love doing this. I love doing that. Let me make sure these hit. Oh, cool. Okay, let's try this again. I just wanted to make sure if you guys heard the sound effect on that. Okay, it's playing that way. Whatever. as long as the meters are bouncing, that's cool with me. All right. Let's do this. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant. Did I change my freaking stream info? Oh, dang it. I freaking I freaking forgot. There we go. Whoopsie. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why this sudden ingress into my courtroom?
Ha! A judicial assistant? And a woman, no less! The rules state that females are not permitted into this court of law other than to testify.
Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense.
Ouch, he's an incel. Yep.
Ha! You're too late, little girl! This trial has already been concluded.
5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more.
But, Your Excellency!
I am most grateful.
Who exactly are you?
I'm sorry. There's no time. Please, simply accept this for now.
What is it? A report about something? Written in English.
It's Giselle Brett's research.
Oh! The Englishwoman's!
After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and borrowed this paper.
Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? So, does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? Well, he came by and then she showed up like suddenly at the very end. I was like, dun dun dun, to be continued.
I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself.
Oh, no. Of course not. Special characteristics of curare and its effects on human subject. Interesting. Curare? What's that? I've never heard that word before.
Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom!
Oh, nice typo. Is that a typo? Looks like a typo.
There was too little time for me to read it in detail, but I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it.
This is wonderful. Thank you. Ba-da-boom.
Goodbye then, and good luck.
You have had long enough, Council. We cannot detain our English guest any longer.
Okay, so let's check this out real quick. Can we examine this? Okay. A poison made from the bark of certain trees in the jungles of South America. The hunters of the region have used it since ancient times to incapacitate their prey. Effects: instant paralysis of the entire body and subsequent death, even in minute doses. Route of entry: the above-mentioned effects occur when the poison enters the body through a wound, such as that inflicted by a blowpipe dart. Due to its ability to render the human body paralytic, it's believed that the toxin could have application as an anesthetic. However, a solution for the respiratory arrest caused as a result of the full body paralysis must be found first, or patients would die of suffocation.
Educational! I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but...
The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency!
So I can't present that yet. Ryunosuke, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence.
That look. The unyielding state of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett?
Yes, Your Excellency.
If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer.
It's a delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I have to politely decline.
Forgive me, Miss Brett. It seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order.
I've said it many times before, but the Japanese language makes no sense.
My apologies, dear lady. Perhaps you should have watched Kongo's earlier stream at 10 a.m. Eastern, where we learned kanji. So, counsel. What was this new evidence that demands the court's attention?
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yume University, doing research. Research, by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison.
What?
Poison? Where are you going with this, counsel?
A toxin known as curare, or curare. Curare? Curare? Curare. I'm gonna say curare. Curare sounds about right. Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
What? What complete and utter nonsense! Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it.
You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done. You wouldn't have done. Once again, that's kind of an odd translation.
What do you mean?
I mean that you wouldn't have heard of curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country.
It doesn't exist?
Correct. Which means, no matter what tests the police can do for toxins, they'd never identify curare. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison!
What?
Order! 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 Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist?
According to this report, authored by the visiting research student from England, curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists.
To lace their arrows?
The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle. And it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett?
Trumpery! These aspirations are utter trumpery! To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed.
That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector?
Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. Just need to make sure I have my VST pulled up so I can do some echo effects when I'm thinking.
What do you mean, the other way around?
The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curer was used.
Explain yourself, Counsel.
The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all.
How terrible!
Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. But I don't follow, Kazuma! That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. The poison causes immediate paralysis, dead, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe, it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move.
That's hideous!
To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Curer poison.
And you're suggesting that this bottle, Counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison?
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense!
If I may.
All these facts! You think you're so clever!
It is you who must be taught.
Of course! Dear lady!
So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it?
What?
You steal another's honest hard work, and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act! Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime? That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Enough of this! I, for one, refuse to accept it! The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules!
What's so funny?
Oh, excuse me, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please?
Well, yes, I don't see, why not?
Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys.
Ooh! Damn, that is some harsh words.
Oh, ouchie.
Sorry. Come again?
To an Englishwoman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers!
You have no injuries in your mouth. It's not gonna work. Wait! What are you doing?
No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair.
Ah! Ah!
Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned.
So, no Curer. The bottle was clean. Is that what you're trying to say?
You look quite incredulous, little boy. But of course, that's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in this grand venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency.
Yes, Miss Brett.
I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our companies.
Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given.
This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. So how? How did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? She had no wounds in her mouth. I don't understand it.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London.
There has to have been poison in that bottle, doesn't there? But there can't have been, because otherwise she would have keeled over dead. Come on, Ryunosuke. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. It's obvious that there is poison in it. The culprit did put poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. The defense refuses to change its position. You're serious?
Fool! Are you blind? There is no possible way that that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw...
Miss Brett drinking the water from it?
That's right. Which rather complicates your argument, I think.
Oh, I forgot to shut the echo off after the internal monologue. I'll turn the echo on during the shouting moments. That way you get that courtroom effect. And I believe that complication can be explained.
How? How exactly?
I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court records somewhere. It has to be!
Oh yeah, no, that's what I was saying. She has no wounds in her mouth, so...
Very well. If the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence. What explains how the witness was able to consume the supposedly poisoned water unscathed?
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report!
That's not a valid explanation!
No?
After all, we don't speak English! That report is utter gibberish! This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court! Your Excellency!
I'm not trying to ridiculate... ridiculate? I'm not trying to ridicule anyone. Honest. I'm just reading Susato-san's notes.
There you go, there's the notes. Right there, that is the proof.
I concur. This report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to this riddle?
Special characteristics.
We've been hearing a lot about this Curer poison. And it's left me curious about something.
Oh, counsel?
Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years. To lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting.
So we've been led to believe. Yes.
And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat.
Get to the point, please!
But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because they'd be eating poison.
Good gracious, counsel! No, that would be madness!
But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Under special characteristics, it says this. The poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound.
No, it would be Sparta! Through a wound, you say? I see. That makes sense.
Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Curer enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever.
What?
Miss Brett! You authored this research. You knew Curer's special characteristics. And you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any damage to yourself. You meddling little...
Rapscallion!
Really? Not meddling kids? That was a real goose on her hat, though? Why was it just sitting there so calmly this whole time?
Well, Ryunosuke, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be.
Really? Me?
A lawyer.
All this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it could possibly...
So, the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some fatsy read in a book. But I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly.
What are you trying to say?
Your schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw.
Schoolboyish? Law.
Even as your brain has managed to deduce, Carrera is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric succus.
Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers. What are they?
So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he?
Ah!
That's right.
Good gracious!
That's basic science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand. No?
Medical report card. Dentist, holes in the mouth.
Order! Order in the court! Order! The logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way.
Are you trying to suggest?
Yes, this Carrere poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial.
That's right. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that.
Geez, even her mask freaked out. Look at that.
What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before.
It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. And more than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey. Say it. Finally! Finally, he said it! I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett.
How dare you use that tone with me?
You know very well there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead.
Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you. You must provide compelling evidence. As we now know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Carrere?
Business card. Report card. Here we go. Take that! As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there is a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners.
A fatal difference?
The toxic effects of Carrere are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. Am I getting a boner? But what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water?
Inside?
Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example.
Ah!
Miss Brett, you acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You use that knowledge to orchestrate this. Is she laughing?
I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly, I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are all so puerile.
What? What do you mean?
Don't worry, little schoolboy. You'll find out soon enough.
Ah! Ah! You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No!
I mean, it could just flip.
Oh my god, that bitch. Holy crap.
Oh dear, how careless of me.
That was clearly, like, she clearly did that on purpose. Clearly on purpose. Like, at that point, I mean, I don't know how this, like, Meiji period law works, but that is clearly destruction of evidence. Yeah, like contempt of court.
I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed.
No! And in the Supreme Court.
Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible, at once!
You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you, it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover.
That's my best evil, like, rich stuck up like girl laugh. How could you? You won't get away with this.
You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now, will we? If there really was poison in the bottle or not.
You. Oh no. I know, right? Like, I mean, granted, keep in mind, this form of courtroom and trial is brand new to the country of Japan. We're talking late 1800s, early 1900s, shortly after the black ships opened trade with Japan during the Meiji Restoration. So there were no longer formal samurai or anything like that. It was just a title that they would give to people, kind of like a knighthood from England or Canada or any other country that does that.
And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Isn't that right, counsel for the prosecution?
Oh, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, my dear lady.
That's right. And really, looking at this photograph, it's as clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. Though, of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
No! You killed the victim that day, using terror! Counsel, look at this photograph! Every time I do it makes me laugh! I feel like I need a sound effect button for that just says those two lines.
And then, in order to frame Ryunosuke Naruhodo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor in his chair around. You see, you had every opportunity to commit this crime.
What a wonderful imagination you have, young man.
Ah!
A hidden gun, you say? And I shot the professor's dead body, didn't I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but you don't have a shred of evidence.
Exactly! And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. The victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene! Ryunosuke! Yes, we've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. So if there are any clues left for us to use now, they must be in your head. In my head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head.
Stop staring at me, Swan!
So think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. Ah! What I saw, what I felt. Every color. It's a black and white photograph. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of the same scene in my head. Could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Yes. Actually, Kazuma? That's a different plate altogether. Looking at that. No bloodstain on it. Also, how the fuck would you eat a steak with a butter knife? Explain that to me! How the fuck would you do that? Like what? Were they... Look at the mark on the steak. Look at that. Look at that mark. That is clearly a bite mark. Were they just grabbing a freaking, like, grabbing the steak and going like, ah, and like biting into it like that? You can't freaking... Oh my god. No, I know that there's a blood stain, but there's clearly none in either of these photographs. Which means that the blood stain is on the other side of the platter, which lines up with the gunshot wound. Because this clearly doesn't show it, but whatever. Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Thinking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Oh, I'm getting a big clue right now. You always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryunosuke? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that English woman's face with some evidence. All right, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. That is a very awkward word, but appropriate for the time period at least. Oh my god. Whatever it is, could be the key to arriving at the truth about all of this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is. Inspector Hosonaga, answer me this! Yes? What is it? He's still miles away. Probably thinking about that bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Wait a minute! Where are you going with this?
Where are you going with this, little boy?
It's just a memory that's been troubling me.
What memory?
I saw the scene shown in this photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood.
What?
Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor.
No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. They really are. Like, she is almost on the level of bitch that Iris is. Was it Iris? I think it's Iris. In Trials and Tribulations, the third original game. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. If I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front, there's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him.
Ah!
Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. Giselle Brett!
I beg your pardon? This is beyond ridiculous! Fabricated nonsense! Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Oh wow, he yelled it! Jeez, everybody's yelling these catchphrases back and forth. This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. Inspector, you mean? Yes, I took the plate in the interests of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime.
I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it.
You did what?
I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice! Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now! Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir!
Oh man, like, this is intense! Man!
Sorry for the delay. Here's what you ordered. The steak.
Stop acting like a waiter, dude! Oh my god. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it?
Of course there isn't.
Quickly, Inspector, the blood man! Show the court!
Of course. Examine the plate at your...
Examine the plate at your leisure.
Wrong plate. No. No blood. No blood anywhere. But no! That's impossible! I know I saw it. I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. It doesn't have the same bite marks, does it?
What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see? This is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Ah!
I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace to the Empire.
I believe we may finally have reached a conclusion in this trial.
Arrogant, nasty, and racist too. Well, I mean, it was the late 1800s. I mean, people are still ridiculously racist now too, but...
Let's hope so. This pretend attempt at a courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. But I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over.
Ah! This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest.
Plate of steak has been... Plate of steak. Was the plate I saw, or thought I saw, just a figment of my imagination? This is it now. I've lost. Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself. Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. Oh-ho-ho! What's this? Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin. And the hallmark is from the Hoy area, I believe. No, I don't mean what is it. I mean, what's it doing there? Wait, did you say it was a Hoy Koban? Yes, and apart from the meat uses, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk of a Hoai Koban. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion in bullion. Oh! And I don't think you ever will again. Get out. Out. This is extraordinary, though. This means... I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. And it's from the Hoai area, too. That would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well. Look. What? Are you thinking of eating it? No. But the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this Ryunosuke. A Koban coin underneath this steak. There's only one logical explanation.
As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of the evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection?
That bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Can this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Your Excellency, please wait! This plate of beef is hiding another clue! Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth!
The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beefsteak.
Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial.
I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled.
I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it?
Thank you, Your Excellency.
Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court what you are alluding to. Where precisely on this plate of beefsteak is this new clue to be found? No, Counsel, I'm afraid that won't do. That was ambiguous at best. When you're asked to identify a detail like this, you must do so.
Oh, come on! Wait. Oh yeah, there's only one thing I can do. Turn this steak over and over until... What the hell? How do I lift the steak up, though? Middle of the steak, maybe? That's... I already examined it. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Back. Yeah, turn the stake over. How do I turn the stake over? In the is where do I point to on the friggin' okay, like, seriously, why isn't the beefsteak lifted up when I do this? There we go. I had to do that. Huh? What the world is... Oh, wait, is this... Oh, I had to press A before I present it. Okay.
Good gracious! That's...
Korban? What on earth?
Ahoy, Erewhon, at that.
Miss Brett, this is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered on the at the restaurant in the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Oh,
What a ridiculous question! How should I know? I've never seen that thing before in my life! I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it! I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef in a moment of distraction.
Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened by accident in the kitchen. A rare Hoei Koban? Hoei, like toy. Hoei, okay. Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now! He's right. It can't be a coincidence. Your Excellency!
yes, Counsel?
A rare Hoei Koban Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak. If this turns out to be irrelevant to the case, I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one's invited you anyway.
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant.
Even though I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what it's doing under that stake.
The owner?
Yes, only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the stake is... Kyuryo Kurekta! Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Kyuryo Kurekta-san!
Curie? As in Mr. Cucumber something?
Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable.
Oof. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct?
Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired.
The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor.
Too busy on the floor. Sorry, what were you doing?
Hunting for treasure.
Indeed, the Hawaii Arakoban, my prized coin.
Then this Hoi Arakoban? Do you mean to tell me?
No! Please, why would Kurekta-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its plate? It makes no sense!
I mean, this isn't, rocket science here. I mean, we're not pulling a Chewbacca defense. Which is why I'm asking to bring Kurekta-san back to the witness stand so we can ask him.
Officer! Bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay!
I can't believe we've come back round to that pair again. But I have a hunch, a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find that it is a key element in the case. Dang. Full court.
What's all this about? Why have I been called up again? Don't you realize that it's dinner time for little baby Ido?
Ido no sa. I just facepalmed myself so hard there. The science court trope, where the bad guys in the courtroom are so oblivious to the obvious. Patrick Star. Boo! When I'm hoarse, I do a very good Patrick.
When my son's belly is empty, he's fiercer than a pack of wolves! Exploited by the police we were, like miserable dogs, forced to bear false witness. And when cast from this courtroom, myself, I became a ruined man in a trice, a worthless, withered antique. Nothing more have I to say. The sun has set on this Rasutei shop's owner's existence.
Be that as it may, Kurekta-san, something has come to light that requires your clarification.
As far as your Rasute memory serves,
Oh God! Rasute! Rasute! Rusty! Rusty shop! Oh my freaking... Oh! Ooh!
Yes! That's it! The one!
the very one! The very exact one, that is! The resplendent, splendiferous, hoy treasure that my rusty bones managed to misplace that fateful day!
It can't be!
As I thought.
Young man! Enlighten this decrepit old fool! Put me out of my misery! Where? Where was my treasure? Where was it dropped?
Oh, I'm not sure if it was dropped anywhere. We found your coin sandwiched between a beefsteak and its plate, soaking in the seasoned meat's juices. I'm having a hard time finding the old man voice that I used the last time I streamed this.
Sandwiched? Soaking? Seriously?
Clearly, it couldn't have fallen there by accident. Which means somebody must have hidden it there on purpose.
Somebody concealed my hoy treasure between a slab of meat and a metal plate!
Who would do such a thing?
Such an inconsiderable thing!
Excuse me. Could I say something?
Yes, of course.
Proceed, Inspector Hosonaga.
I mentioned it earlier on in the trial, but I was working undercover in the restaurant in order to investigate another case.
Ah, yes, that's right. The secret undercover operation.
Le Carnival is a high-class Western cuisine restaurant. It attracts wealthy diners, including many foreigners. Recently, there's been a run of similarly executed thefts, targeting the restaurant's rich clientele. A number of such incidents have been reported to the police bureau.
Wicked crimes indeed. Indeed.
We wanted to nip the case in the bud quickly, especially with so many foreigners being affected.
So that's why you were sent in undercover, is it?
Yes, I took on the job of waiter at the restaurant in order to flush out the criminal. It seems likely that this Koban incident is the work of the same thief.
So unbeknownst to us, there was a master thief at work in the restaurant on a regular basis. The place was already the scene of several crimes, it seems. I don't know about the master thief part, but the identity of the person who stole and hid Korekta-san's Koban is all too clear.
What?
What? I think the court would like to hear the defense's view on this matter. Tell us, who is the despicable scoundrel that stole Korekta-san's Koban and hid it under the steak?
Clearly, Yesanosa. Obviously, it can only be you! Sergeant Yesanosa!
What? How? How dare you? You monster!
Monster?
I stole that Koban, did I? I'm the master thief of La Carnival, am I? You're seriously accusing me of these crimes, cadet? But it wasn't me. It was Ido. Ido is the mastermind behind all this.
Wait, what? Whoa, what's going on? Why are you blaming the baby? Why are you blaming the baby, dude? What the hell's going on? What the hell is going on? Why are you blaming the baby? Uh, You would push the blame for your crimes onto your own son, an innocent little baby? It's you who's the monster, Sergeant Nosa!
Ouch! Ah! Clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop, clippity clop. Ah!
The fuck? What the hell is this?
Nippon Imperial Army, Sergeant Yesa Nosa, preparing to stand down in the Supreme Court, sir.
What the hell did I just see? What the hell did I just... What did I watch? What the fuck was that? He's got a Wario mustache now.
Do any of you know of the extraordinarily low wages of the Nippon Imperial Army pays to those it expects to keep our country safe? I understand that the temporary increase in taxation owing to the recently ended conflicts remains in place. And I have heard it's hard for lower-ranking soldiers to make a living, yes. All I want is to put a hot meal on the table for my son.
That's why you were stealing things at the restaurant.
The place is heaving with money. Every 3 days, I'd go there to do reconnaissance for a target. And I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak at the same time.
Sounds like he doesn't bother with a knife and fork even, which is worryingly believable. Yeah, no, that steak had full freaking bites into it. I noticed that earlier, right? Right, chat? I saw that. I saw the freaking tooth marks. Not to mention, definitely on the inspector for giving him a fucking butter knife instead of a damn steak knife. Seriously, never seen such incompetence before in my life. And your target that day was the old man in his koban?
Yes, sir. He was an easy mark. I slipped the coin into my pocket without any trouble at all. A veritable phantom thief you are! I was all set to leave the steak I was halfway through devouring when it happened. Bang!
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure because they proved that he couldn't eat the steak, so the steak was with her. Yes, when the professor was shot. Obviously, you'd hear a noise.
I knew if the police conducted a search and found the coin in my pocket, I'd be finished. I'd owe too. So I hid the incriminating evidence as fast as I could, on the double. I slipped it under the steak, hoping that I'd be able to rendezvous with it again at a later date.
I need a cricket sound effect too on my soundboard. Ridiculous.
Perhaps you could carry on with this absurd prattling in your own time?
Well, Miss Brett?
Oh, of course, dear lady, of course. How rude of us. I'm quite sure there's no need to detain you any longer at all. May the esteemed gentlewoman please be excused, Your Excellency?
Indeed. The theft of the Koban was clearly perpetrated by this baby-saddled sergeant. It would certainly appear to be unrelated to Dr. Wilson's murder.
Of course it is. Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. Nonsense, is it?
Well,
And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork? It's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
very well. Now that all questions concerning this witness's testimony have been answered, I see no further justification for detaining her. Miss Brett, you are free to leave.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Goodbye, everyone. And good day.
Ryunosuke, what's the matter with you? This is no time for daydreaming. Oh, no, it's just... something about Miss Brett's parting words there got me thinking. I can't quite work out what exactly, but something she said jarred with me. I feel like there was a contradiction in there somewhere. Something didn't quite add up. If that's the case, don't just stand there thinking. Make your voice heard. Sorry? You can think later, but if you don't call out now, it'll be too late. The trial will be over. Wait! Miss Brett!
What is it now?
I'm afraid. Just one last time. There's something I'd like to ask you. I'd like you to explain the contradiction in your parting words from just a few moments ago.
What are you talking about? What contradiction?
What new student nonsense is this?
Well, what parting words are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
Hiding a coin under a lump of meat? The sheer nonsense of such an idea astounds me. And as for picking up your steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork, it's beyond nonsense. It's pure madness.
Yes, I'm right. What she said there exposed an undeniable contradiction.
I'm going to need to see evidence, Counsel. If Miss Brett's words truly are contradictory, where is the evidence to prove it?
Gotta be that. Emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow. No, not the friggin' emblem. Come on. I'm supposed to point at the freaking steak, but... yeah, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah. Where's that?
The steak that Miss Brett had been eating before the professor was killed? Yes, go on.
More accurately, Your Excellency. The steak that was on the victim's table just before the professor was killed.
Now you're just splitting hairs.
Not true. Doesn't something about the steak strike you as very unnatural?
Unnatural? What on earth do you mean?
It's extremely obvious. I'm talking about the shape of the edge where it's been eaten.
Ah!
I see you've noticed it too, Miss Brett.
Noticed what exactly, Counsel?
Just a few moments ago, Miss Brett claimed no Englishman could ever contemplate picking up a steak and biting into it without using a knife and fork.
Of course she did. She's a refined English gentlewoman herself.
Then take a good look at this steak, in particular, the edge where it's been eaten. As you can see, there are clearly defined barbaric teeth marks there.
Ah!
Oh!
Ah!
It looks like Miss Brett has realized something. So, if the witness, as she claims, wouldn't contemplate eating anything without using a knife and fork, there shouldn't be teeth marks in the steak at all.
But what is your actual point? Perhaps the delightful Miss Brett was ravenously hungry. Whatever you say, dear lady.
As I said, I really must be leaving now. Afternoon tea with the Minister of Justice cannot possibly wait any longer.
Of course, of course. This will be all over in the blink of an eye. Rest assured, I'm about to put this Ricky in his place. Just leave me to...
I've heard enough. You irritating little spectacled samurai relic.
Of course. Dear lady!
What's the matter, Miss Brett? Have we ruffled your feathers? Clearly, the witness knows what this means. She's realized the catastrophic implications these teeth marks in the steak have for her. Ryunosuke, do you know where you're going with this? Yes. Now at last, it's all come together. The mysterious teeth marks in a steak that had allegedly been eaten with cutlery. The reason why the bloodstain I know I saw somehow seems to have disappeared. And most importantly, the evidence that proves once and for all who shot Dr. Wilson that day.
I accept that these teeth marks in the steak are a little unnatural, as you put it, Counsel. But what exactly are you suggesting that tells us?
Everything, Your Excellency.
Everything?
Yes, I believe that these barbaric teeth marks in the steak here amount to conclusive evidence in this case. Evidence that will prove beyond any doubt who shot Dr. Wilson.
Conclusive evidence? How many times have I heard that today?
You wouldn't know the meaning of the phrase, typical Japanese empty threats.
How can you be so sure?
Oh, it's quite simple. If you really had such conclusive evidence, you would have presented it to the court long ago.
Actually, the evidence I'm talking about hasn't been brought before the court yet.
Hasn't been? What?
But just because it hasn't been shown yet, doesn't mean that the evidence does not exist. The absence of evidence does not mean the evidence of absence, or something like that. I can't remember the quote. That is a tasty burger. Sorry, wrong game. That's the Phoenix Wright series.
This is absurd! The trial has run several hours already, and you say there's evidence yet to be brought forward? There can't be! I don't believe you have it!
I don't, but there is someone who does have it. Someone in this very courtroom. Ah. And if that person is willing to submit the piece of evidence I'm referring to, it will solve every remaining mystery about this case.
Very well. I have a feeling this will be my last request of the defense in this trial. Who possesses the conclusive evidence that will reveal the truth about this whole affair?
Clearly, the detective waiter.
The answer is obvious. It's Inspector Hosonaga.
What? I have it.
Yes.
You think I've been withholding conclusive evidence? That's ridiculous.
No. I'm not saying that. Everyone's attention has been focused on this steak with the teeth marks.
Yes.
Now, earlier this afternoon, Sergeant Nosa told the court the following. I'd enjoy chopping my way through a good steak. And as well as admitting to stealing Korekta-san's coin, he told us that he slipped it under the steak.
You watch it, cadet! I'm a superior officer!
Sergeant Nosa, could you please confirm something for me? Was the steak that you put the coin under, in fact, your own steak?
Attention! Affirmative, of course! I might be a soldier in the Imperial Nippon Army, but still! I'm not brave enough to ask a foreign gentle lady if she'd mind me manhandling her meal to hide something in it.
In other words, the steak that the detective submitted is evidence earlier?
Don't believe everything you read on the internet, Abraham Lincoln.
Was in fact Sergeant Nosa's meal.
But that actually makes no sense! That plate was taken from the victim's table.
Yet the gentlewoman doesn't take bites out of her steak, nor did she have any opportunity to steal the coin. Of course I didn't steal it. To even suggest such a thing would be an affront to the entire British Empire.
Well then, how do you explain this paradox?
Exactly! Surely you're not going to suggest that's the sergeant switched the two steaks over.
Ah!
Uh-huh. You did switch the plates?
Well, after it happened, bang! When I saw the civilian had been murdered right in front of my eyes like that, I panicked. As I said, I immediately lifted my steak and hit the coin underneath it.
You idiot.
But then, when the waiter announced he was an undercover policeman, I thought I'd had it. If he decided to investigate my slab of meat, that'd be it. I'd be getting my marching orders. So when the cadet here was arrested and taken off to the kitchen, I seized my chance. Get back there, you. With military precision and timing, I switched my steak with the one on the foreign lady's table.
What? You can't have. I never saw you do such a thing.
It was called Operation Lightning Bolt. There was no time for strategic planning. It was do or die, I tell you. So yes, I did what had to be done.
Unbelievable!
However, fear not, Prosecutor San.
What now?
I swear on the brass buttons of my uniform, that is all I did.
Sir! All you did? That's plenty, Sergeant!
So, if Sergeant Nossa switched the plates over, it means he took Miss Brett's steak and the plate it was on back to his own table.
Yes, that follows.
Inspector Hosanaga,
Yes?
earlier in this trial, you told the court this. You said that you had not only taken Miss Brett's steak after the incident, but also the sergeant's. That to preserve the evidence, you had taken both.
That's correct.
Then please present it to the court now. The plate that was actually on the victim's table at the precise moment he was shot. What can that possibly tell us now? I mean, a cold slab of tough meat. I haven't the slightest bearing on the case.
No, you're not wriggling your way out of it this time, lady.
I beg your pardon?
Surely you're not that forgetful. Surely you remember the reason why this steak pan promises to prove such a problem for you. No?
You idiot, that you're dead and so is the British Empire. History.
You're the ones who decided it was a problem, not me.
The reason the defense asked to see that plate was to confirm something the defendant remembers seeing.
He thinks he remembers.
I'm quite sure of what I saw, Miss Brett. On the side of the plate that was on the table directly behind Dr. Wilson, there was a clear spattering of blood from the gunshot wound to the victim's chest. I believe the defendant's memory serves him well. And now we have the evidence to prove it. The plate you were eating from, Miss Brett.
Let us not prolong this any further. Inspector, you will show the evidence to the court. Present the beefsteak and plate that was originally on the victim's table at the time of the incident.
Yes, sir! Sorry for keeping you. Here is the other steak at its plate. Please, feel free to examine it. The blood stain. It's clearly visible. Look. Now this makes everything clear. The blood you can see on the side of the plate shows that at the moment the victim was shot, he was facing the table with his back to me. In other words, it's impossible for Naruhodo-san to have shot the victim.
Hey, Dark Boy TV. How's it going? Or Dark B-Boy. I'm going a little cross-eyed from all this reading.
It can't be.
In fact, there's only one person who could possibly shot Dr. Wilson from the front.
Or the blood was just steak blood. No, because that is not actually blood when you cut into a rare steak. The juice coming out of a steak when you cut into a medium rare steak is myoglobin. It's related actually to muscle. So it's kind of like blood, but not really, because blood is hemoglobin. But that's just me being scientific.
That's right, Miss Giselle Brett! It's you!
Outdone by a Japanese. Me, by a Japanese schoolboy. No, no, no! Ah! Ah!
Ah!
I could not do that for as long as I needed to for... What the fuck? Wait, what the fuck? What the hell just happened? What did I just watch? What the... What's with the chicks? Why did she float up to heaven? I am so befuddled and confused right now. Holy crap, like...
Please excuse my little outburst. I briefly lost my composure. Most unbecoming behavior for an English gentlewoman. Forgive me.
Well, Miss Brett, I think it's time you told the court what actually happened that day. The truth, this time.
Takes off headset and leaves.
Gladly, Your Excellency. It was I who took the professor's life, using Curer. As you surmised, I chose that particular day for one very important reason. The professor had a dental appointment for the extraction of one of his teeth in the morning.
So you planned to kill the professor, knowing that no trace of poison would be found in his water. Because Curer is unheard of here in Japan.
Yes. Of course, I never intended to remain at the restaurant for as long as I did. I only needed to see the professor take one tiny sip of his water, and it would all be over. I would place the steak I had ordered in front of him to make it appear as though he'd been dining alone, and leave immediately. However, before any of that happened, there was an unexpected visitor at the professor's table.
That would be me, I suppose.
Yes, you. Who else? Such a trifling matter, but the fact that you decided to come over and greet the professor meant that I had lost my chance to slip away unnoticed. In due course, the professor took a sip of his water and was paralyzed. I made sure he was sitting in his chair such that he wouldn't fall. There was no going back at that point. So I concocted a plan on the spur of the moment.
A plan to pin Dr. Wilson's murder on this innocent man.
I happen to know that the professor always carried a gun. I decided to use that fact to my advantage. I had the bottle of Curer in my handbag, and my own pistol concealed under my skirt.
Under your skirt?
So I was right. There were two guns.
Yes.
And then I finished my coffee and got up to leave. That's when I noticed the professor's gun, which you had presumably placed on the floor. Placed where you were sure that I would notice it.
And everything went according to plan. You noticed the gun as I'd intended. And then, just as you bent down to pick it up. Bang!
Everybody likes doing the bang sound effect. Like, all of them have done that in their testimony.
That's when you shot the professor with your own gun. Even though at that point, he was already dead. Naturally, the gunshot caused a commotion, at which point the waiter appeared.
Obviously, I assumed Naruhodo-san was the culprit and apprehended him. I took him to the pantry that adjoins the kitchen and locked him inside.
That's when I took the opportunity to turn the professor and his chair around.
Because, of course, you needed to make it look like the defendant had shot Dr. Wilson from where he'd picked up the gun.
So there you have it. That is the entirety of my misdemeanor. Your Excellency.
Yes?
I wonder. Might I speak with you in private later?
I shall call on you.
Because dentist appointment. She knew he had the appointment, and she knew that the poison only works when it goes into an open wound, and he had a tooth pulled. So the poison would kill him. But because Naruhodo showed up, she shot him instead. To make it look like he was shot by another guy. Like, she didn't want to get caught. So
I hope you can forgive me, Naruhodo-san.
away she goes.
It would seem this trial has finally run its course. I presume the prosecution is in agreement.
This can't be! Taketsuchi Ouchi does not lose! Not to the likes of this rookie student!
Her original motive was to poison him. Because, reason... I think she was looking for a way to prove that that poison worked, maybe? I don't know. You'd better start getting used to tough opposition.
Ah! Ryunosuke Naruhodo!
What? Yes?
This insult to the Ouchi family name will never be forgotten!
You've become conceited with age, Council. But the old have to stand aside and make way for the new. American politicians could learn a lesson from this line right here. It's the way of the world. May you never forget that! Oh my god! I love that trope. 1,000 millennia may pass, and still the Ouchi clan will never measure up to the Naruhodo clan. It's like a curse he just put on him. Considering that Ouchi loses to Phoenix Wright, aka Ryuichi Naruhodo.
This trial in the Supreme Court of Japan will, I believe, go down in history as the start of a new chapter in our country's judicial system. Despite being summoned as the accused, you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo presented an excellent case.
I thank you, Your Excellency.
The use of evidence and deduction to unravel the truth is a modern methodology. After all, it has only been a few short decades since our country opened its doors to the wider world. But the Western ideas of science are rapidly gaining acceptance here. I feel sure that science will soon bring new methods of investigation and new procedures of justice.
So, basically, to put a rough age on this, like he says, few decades, I want to say this happens about 1880s era. That's definitely during the Meiji Restoration.
A new future of law awaits. But what will it look like? I cannot begin to imagine. That is for the young to pursue. Kazuma Asogi.
Yes?
After this trial, you are set to embark on a journey of discovery to the illustrious British Empire. Learn all you can. Absorb everything of the wider world that you are able to. And do not forget to fulfill the mission imposed upon you.
I understand, Your Excellency. What was that about? Why do you look so grave all of a sudden? Never mind.
As for you, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Oh, yes!
In you, I sense, how can I put it, unusual potential.
Alarm.
I very much look forward to seeing how you carry that onwards.
Thank you, Your Excellency!
It is time to deliver the final verdict. I hereby find the defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, not guilty.
Oh wait, no, it needs to be more epic.
Not guilty.
There we go.
This court is now adjourned.
November, 2:46 p.m. Supreme Court of Judicature. Defendant's Antechamber. I hope you guys heard the sound effect. I'm pretty sure it went off. I can't believe it. I can't believe what happened. I defended myself and made it through that horrendous trial. Ryunosuke, you finally pulled it off. Congratulations. Well, I couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, Kazuma. No. It was a pleasure to watch you at work. Pog, yeah. So you owe me an extra large sukiyaki from the place at Yume University Street. Don't forget. Good afternoon. All your hard work is paid off. Good afternoon. All your hard work is certainly paid off. Congratulations to both of you for proving Naruhodo-san's innocence. Ah, our trusty judicial assistant. You worked hard for that result too, you know. Oh no, I didn't do anything. Thank you so much! If we hadn't had that research report of Miss Brett's, I wouldn't know how things would have turned out.
Your kind words should really be for my father. I was simply doing as he asked. It was his idea for me to go to the university and investigate.
Your father? Ah, yes, of course.
Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Susato Mikotoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense.
Speaking of Mikotoba,
Ah, there you are. I believe congratulations are in order. Naruhodo, you did an excellent job.
thank you, Professor.
Oh no, it is I who should be thanking you. After all, your efforts exposed the true criminal that took the life of my good friend.
Good friend? Oh yes, you mentioned that before. It was you who actually invited Dr. Wilson to Yume University, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Professor Mikotoba studied overseas himself. He went to study forensic medicine in Great Britain. Presumably, that's when you met Dr. Wilson.
Exactly. In those days, we worked together at the same hospital.
Oh, you work together? I've never heard you mention that before.
Well, it was a long time ago now. Besides, it's your turn, Asogi.
Ah!
Great Britain is a magnificent country. It leads the world in science, medicine, engineering, culture, and of course, in law. Watch and learn, my boy. My boy. Watch and learn, my boy. See what's happening in the world's largest melting pot.
I thought America was the world's largest melting pot. England was still, like, kind of empirical a little bit back in that time period. Cream of the Kai, you're a historian. This is totally not right, right?
I will. I'll learn all that I can.
I swear on this, the spirit of the Asogi clan. You're not taking that sword to Great Britain, are you?
Of course I am. A Japanese man's katana is his soul. This blade shows me where I need to go. And cuts down anything that's in my way.
Yes, I've definitely seen how sharp it is and already with my own eyes.
That reminds me. What's happened to the woman? The Giselle Brett, I mean. After all, she's guilty of murder. Ah, yes, her. Not easy to tell you this.
What do you mean? Surely she's going to face trial herself now. She's the true culprit, after all. Cuts down everything in your way. Me, even your clients. In that case, he freaking chopped the top knot off of freaking Ouchie. The prosecutor.
She will be leaving Japan in the very near future. For Shanghai.
What? Shanghai?
Giselle Brett will not appear in court again in this country. I'm certain of that.
What? But why not?
It's a matter of consular jurisdiction.
Inspector Hosonaga!
It was a hard-fought battle in the courtroom today. Very impressive to watch. I must congratulate...
But what's this all about consular jurisdiction?
We cannot try this particular foreigner for her crimes here in Japan.
What? We can't try her? But then, who? Who's going to bring her to justice?
A British consular court will hear her case, somewhere far away, where our voices can't be heard.
But why a consular court? Again, a little bit of history here. For people who don't remember, Hong Kong used to be British. That's right. Just like Macau used to be Portuguese. Go figure.
Professor, I simply don't understand. I thought consular courts were a thing of the past now that we've signed the friendship treaty.
Yes, in normal circumstances, you're right.
Then, so long as this is not a serious incident of a highly political nature to our respective governments, they can't invoke a consular court just like that.
Who's gonna bring her to justice? Me. She's a witch to the stake! If she floats, she is a witch! If she sinks, she is a witch! Something like that. I can't remember the line. I haven't seen Holy Grail in a while. Could rewatch it. Oh, can't they?
Yes, she's a student, but it doesn't justify our governments making secret agreements about her fate, does it? Something strange is going on. So Miss Brett can't be held accountable for her actions here in Japan.
I'm afraid that for the young student, today's trial was nothing more than a game all along. There was never any danger of comeuppance for her.
I don't believe it! The British government's Foreign Affairs Ministry has demanded that we hand over custody of Miss Brett. They're obviously taking this case of a foreign student committing murder very seriously.
But it's all going to change from now on. We can make it change. This is a time of great turmoil. This new era heralded by the start of the 20th century.
Okay, so this must be like 1901, 1902 then. So, okay.
One day, I have no doubt, that woman will receive the judgment she deserves.
Yes, change is coming, and we're the ones driving it.
Well, I think that's enough seriousness for now. This evening calls for a celebratory drink.
But Professor!
You're right. This is no time for gloomy faces. We should be celebrating Ryunosuke's not guilty verdict. Let's start having some fun! In that case, might I suggest La Carnival? As the head waiter, I should be delighted to provide you with ample food and drink.
You're a detective, Hosonaga-san, aren't you?
Let's not worry about details for now. To La Carnival! Will you accompany us, Professor? Of course. La Carnival's food is second to none.
I shall go and attend to the paperwork for Naruhodo-san's release.
Oh, yes!
Thank you.
Rodney Ditch.
Guess what, everyone? We're all gonna get laid!
Rodney Ditch. I love that comedian.
No respect at all.
So Giselle Brett won't be tried here. I suppose that means I'll never know. I'll never find out why she killed Dr. Wilson.
Yeah, none of us will. It's a mystery.
Kazuma.
Yes?
Ryunosuke? I just wanted to say, thanks again. That's all. You really saved my skin today.
I didn't do a thing. You were the lawyer in there, weren't you? That defense was all your own work.
Your skills made the difference, though. One day, I bet you'll be the best lawyer in the world.
I'm not so sure about that.
Huh?
To be honest, something kept occurring to me over and over again during that trial. I couldn't help thinking that maybe you're the one destined to become a great lawyer. A great ace attorney, if you will.
What? Come on, be serious.
If I helped you today, it was only right at the very start of the trial. But you have a natural talent for it. For being a defense lawyer, I mean.
Oh no, not me! All that tense verbal combat? I never want to go through that ever again!
Foreshadowing!
I did what you told me to do, that's all. Because I knew I could trust you.
That's the point.
That's the joke.
Sorry? What do you mean, that's the point?
Listen, Ryunosuke. Do you know what the most crucial weapon is that any lawyer needs in order to win?
Knowledge of the law?
No. The ability to believe.
To believe? To believe what?
A defense lawyer has to fight for his clients. He has to believe in them at all times.
Like you believed in me when I said I didn't do it.
I'm human, just like you. I don't have some superhuman ability to know the truth. But you have to make a choice about what to believe in and stick to it when you're defending someone. Sometimes in the courtroom, you can really be backed into a corner. But being able to remain faithful to what you chose to believe in even then, well, that's not something anyone can do. It takes a special kind of person.
Believing in your client.
Just look at today's trial. I'm a student lawyer with precious little real experience, but you never stopped believing in me.
Well,
You faced seemingly hopeless situations time and again, but you never stopped looking for the truth. And in the end, you found it. Through your own efforts, and because you never stopped believing in me. Don't stop believing in me.
Oh, God.
thanks, Kazuma.
There's something I want to ask you. Ryunosuke. Well, it's a favor. Something very important to me.
Sounds serious. What is...
Ah, you're still here, are you?
Oh, Inspector Hosonaga!
I've arranged some rickshaws for us. Let's go. Thank you. We'll be right there. Let's pick up this conversation again later. We should be celebrating right now. Your first court victory.
And your study tour to Great Britain. Don't forget!
Ah, yes, that too.
So my very first trial came to an end.
Shouldn't Hosonaga be in trouble? Didn't he kind of sort of bungle shit and withheld evidence? Or am I thinking? I guess he could only, like, he only presented evidence if it was considered relevant to the case. So I guess, like, the steak plate and things like that weren't relevant, maybe? I don't know.
Kazuma. Professor Mikotaba. Susato-san, who acted as my assistant.
What the hell? Why did that die? I've been plugged in and charging this whole time. Oh shit, did that guy... Oh, dang! Freaking power brick came unplugged somehow. Dang it.
It was because the help and support of all these people I managed to get through this trial. But more importantly, Kazuma hadn't yet managed to ask his favor of me. Little did I realize just how much it would change my life.
And bloody. Defense debut awarded! Yay! Save progress. Saving. Save complete. Cool. Okay. So next Great Ace Attorney stream is going to be on Thursday. I'm gonna go get myself a nice throat coat tea after all this stuff. I did a lot of high-pitched screaming for once. Haven't done that in a while. So yeah, next time it's going to be episode 3, The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band. And Chris Walken, I think you're going to find this cool, actually. Not to do a spoiler or anything, but I mean, because all the titles of the episodes are here. Episode 5 is The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's interesting that this is their take on the Sherlock story. Alrighty. So back here in the chat. Weird. Oh, there we go. I had that turned down. All right, so let's see who to raid, huh? Let's figure a little something out. Who's live right now? We're gonna do the traditional thing. We're gonna raid them with a under the phrase "We will rock you." Okay, so who is live right now? Let's raid Cowgirl. Raid. Huh. Yeah, that looks fun. All right, yeah, we're gonna go into the raid and say "We will rock you" in the chat. Right, so starting the raid. And let's go!
Alright, are playing some people part. How was your stream? Thank you very